Hello and welcome to our ongoing coverage of the MPV Wars. That's right, unbeknownst to most people outside of China, a great battle has been taking place in the large MPV category. A battle to see who can create the boldest, the strangest, some would argue the ugliest possible design for a large MPV. Today, we're going to check out another competitor, the Trumpchi M8.
With hands-on test drives and reviews of exciting Chinese market vehicles, Wheelsboy is the #1 source for China auto insights. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook.
The front-end styling of the M8 is clearly intended to one-up the current champion of the large MPV category here in China, that being the Lexus LM300. I have publicly referred to the LM300 as the ugliest way to spend $250,000 US. There's two reasons for that. One, it's very ugly, and two, because once you add the dealer markup to its base price of over $150,000 USD, things get very, very expensive very, very quickly. Trumpchi has somehow managed to outdo Lexus, however, by taking their huge spindle grille and, well, making it even huger. They've also added this vertical daytime running light here on the side. At this point, you might be wondering, what is going on in this segment? Well, it seems like this is actually what customers want. As one of my friends so astutely put it, these cars have become the big Gucci belt buckle of the automotive world. They're basically a billboard that says, hey, I have a ton of money to buy a big MPV and get driven around in it. As is so often the case with cars in this particular category, the rest of the styling has a hard time following up on that distinctive front end. After all, this is an MPV and practicality dictates that it basically just needs to be a box. It's a big box though, at 5.21 meters in length. It's almost exactly the same length as competitors like the Buick GL8, which means there's plenty of space behind the third row.
Styling aside, the M8 and the Lexus LM300 aren't what you might call rivals here in China, mostly due to the fact that the Grandmaster versions of the M8 are priced at just $38,000 to $48,000 US. Remember, that's less than a third of the starting price of an LM300.
There's nothing particularly revolutionary about the styling of the front row of the M8, but there are some interesting features I want to point out. First though, let me give you the basics. This car comes standard with a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster and a 14.6-inch center screen, both powered by the increasingly ubiquitous Qualcomm Snapdragon 8155 processor. This car comes with heated and cooled seats here in the front row, but I don't find that very interesting. What I do find interesting is this, a traditional Chinese painting they've put into a real piece of wood here on the passenger side dashboard. This gold-colored trim is very nice, and it's matched by the other kind of light gold trim throughout the car. There's another thing, though. You've probably already noticed this crystal shift knob, and that's nothing new. There's a bunch of gaudy crystal shift knobs in a bunch of other cars. However, you've probably never seen one that does this. That's right. This thing is basically a fidget spinner that you can play with in traffic. This does nothing to operate the eCVT of this car or any other function. It's just there for fun.
As I say whenever we review a large MPV though, the front row isn't really what matters. The VIPs ride in the second row, and that's where manufacturers focus most of their attention.
Once you grab onto this real leather handle and slide into one of the two captain's chairs here in the second row, you are greeted by a dizzying number of features. These seats, for example, are adjusted via this LED touchscreen here in the armrest. That's where you can also control your massaging, heating, and cooling functions on this top-spec car. Speaking of massaging and cooling, there's also a heated and cooled cup holder up here. Well, technically it's only one cup holder. The left side is just a regular cup holder. Down below that, you have USB ports and a little storage cubby.
The rear air conditioning and doors are controlled via a panel mounted on the roof, and just forward of that is the piece de resistance of our top spec model, the 15.6-inch fold-down rear screen. It's not as fancy as the gesture and touch control operated screen in something like a Li Auto L9, but it does have decent clarity. Just don't lose that remote.
We also get a repetition of the beautiful Chinese painting on the passenger side dashboard here in the leather on the door. Legroom here in the second row is plentiful, but that was kind of a foregone conclusion. Let's check out the third row. This car has a 3.07 meter wheelbase, a little bit shorter than that of the Buick GL8, but it's hard to tell, at least sitting here. There's a little bit of space between me and the seat, but if it's not enough for you, you can adjust forward and aft like this. He also has adjustable rake, so you can lean back as well. My only complaint, floor is a little bit high.
The M8 is available in two trims, a standard ICE powertrain and a mild hybrid. The standard car uses an 8-speed automatic attached to a 2-liter turbo 4, making 185 kilowatts and 390 newton-meters of torque. The hybrid apparently uses a Toyota hybrid system, and while its 2-liter turbo has less power, just 140 kilowatts and 330 newton-meters, it adds an electric motor, making another 134 kilowatts.
Normally I would start the driving portion of the video in the driver's seat, but let's be honest, nobody buys these cars for their driving dynamics.
I did drive this thing, and I would summarize it by saying it is sufficiently powerful, sufficiently smooth, and sufficiently efficient, especially in this hybrid trim, to serve its purpose as a people mover. It doesn't have the same level of powertrain refinement as more expensive options, but that doesn't matter unless you're the driver.
No, what matters much more is how it feels here in the second row, and you can only truly assess that once you're on the move. As we've already discussed, there's plenty back here to keep you entertained and comfortable. You want to work? There is a fold-down table here with real metal hinges, by the way. You can put your laptop, and there's a 220-volt outlet where you can keep it charged. You just want to relax? Well, put your table away, lean your seat back, and watch a movie on that big screen. You can also enjoy the headrests, which are adjustable, of course, and have 2 speakers mounted inside. That's part of the 16-speaker Yamaha sound system in this car. They can be adjusted individually on each seat and muted even. This thing definitely outshines more expensive MPVs that we reviewed in terms of features. That includes the Toyota Alphard and the Buick GL8. In terms of material quality, I'd say it's on par with the GL8. That means there's interesting design features to be found and some more premium elements, like those real metal hinges on that table, but also a heck of a lot of plastic as well. There are also some, shall we say, refinement issues. On this particular car, when I adjust the rake of this seat, there's a very unpleasant kind of vibration and rubbing sound that I cannot figure out where it's coming from. Doesn't give me luxurious vibes, but still, at a price of around $48,000 US, that is a lot of bang for your buck. Sitting in the back seat of the M8 is a pleasure, not only because of the amounts of technology and comfort that you get to enjoy, but because sitting back here, there's almost no chance that you'll have to look at the front end styling. I think that pretty much summarizes my feelings on this car. I'm gonna hit this spa button here and take a nap. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook. All the links in their description below. And as always, like, subscribe, and hit the bell.